The story of the painting series begins with the inspiration of the biodevastation rally in 2000 in Boston. Between the big event in Seattle and the Washington, D.C., the IMF World Bank, there was a largest collection of biotech industry people. 8,000 people gathered in Boston, and a counter-protest teach-in was produced in Boston called Biodevastation, and that is where I met quite a few people: Ralph Nader, Vandana Shiva, Jane Akery, and Steve Wilson from Fox News. And at the opening of this event, after 2 days of the news saying that there was going to be a giant violent protest in Boston, I was standing there, and a few people that I met said, "Why don't you open it?" And so I did a poem, an a cappella poem called "Love is Allowed," about not shooting people for making love in the street. And it was a no-arrest event. It was very successful. About 2,500 people showed up. And as I stepped off the stage, I met Martha Herbert. Martha Herbert was the co-chair of the Council for Responsible Genetics, and my life in activism took a leap of faith that day. It bothered me all the years that went by, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and no one knew about the Genetic Bill of Rights. I would ask people constantly throughout the years, have you ever heard of it? Artists, activists, have you ever heard of it? Do you know you have no rights? And so there was a friend of mine had a gallery, and there was an art show there. I'm not a painter, I'm a poet. So I said, I'll make a painting series out of them. So I started #1, and then my lives crossed paths with Mariam Moradian, who can't be here today. She's in Seattle. We live in a little town called Suquamish, Washington. It's a Native American town. So I left the US, and Mariam is a painter. And so I showed her the series, and it went from there. We finished the paintings and then contacted Martha, and Martha told us that she's not the chair anymore. Sheldon is. Sheldon got the news, a DVD. Evan Lerner ended up calling us, and there was a 4-page interview. I was very blessed about the process and what we think of it in Gene Watch magazine. And hope you all subscribe there. I'm sure they need the support. It ended up here, and its first public viewing 8 years after I saw that little piece of paper back there, and they published in the Globe, and it just disappeared from the public consciousness. So Mariam is a bladed heart. She's kept alive by a battery with technology. As she painted the series, she was taking a drug to keep her heart from arrhythmias. She was in tremendous pain, and she was scheduled for a new battery to keep her alive. And the drug was actually causing her to go blind. By the end of the series, she was almost completely blind. And she since got the new operation in January. The cut back on the medication, the blindness stopped, and then 3 months later, the battery in the heart was working, and she got off the drug, and she could see again. So that's a pretty amazing story. She can't be here, so how about a thank you for Mariam Moradian. And that's the inspiration, creation, and significance. We don't know. And so I'm working on a project called the Open Declaration for the Creative Global Community. And this is where arts, activists, legislators, scientists, doctors all work together. It is not an infighting or separate enclave thing. And I'm going to read that to you now, an excerpt of it. And I think you'll hear the significance. We the artistic, oh wait, I'm going to read it from the right page. We the global community of the artistic and creative beings in the fields of art, science, and humanities, with all our physical, spiritual, and virtual expressions in all forms and mediums, hereby gather in harmony to expose creativity to all, to ourselves, and to creativity itself, for the present coming of all possible futures, to expose the questioning of who and what we are and may become as a people, communities, cultures, and a species, to expose and explore the present reflections of what we have become, are at risk of becoming again, or may create of ourselves and this earth in the wake of our deeds, the deeds we propose to do and what has now been done. We hereby engage the present and expand the possibilities of now releasing our own ego's needs, now, even if only to bring consciousness to the truth that our future is being engineered as we consume our own demise. As our intelligent sleep chooses the ignorance of our safe fears protected, our frightened egos hid away from our own honest humility, afraid of letting our own failures and doubts contribute to our human successful ideals of humanity, peace, and equality. We teach, paint, compose, record, perform, write, illustrate, photograph, speak, support, and organize our heart's will into what moves as we share being. And all information becomes creativity, moving us throughout our vulnerable lives, and our wonderful spirits rise homeward. For each of us is housed by a lifespan and are here to transpire by nature amidst our worth, our leaving footprints. And we are not about artistic making. Art is not about me or each our hungry egos in every moment's end. Yet we may be blessed for each our own contributions done by the receiving and giving of gratitude. The future of life on earth rests upon the responsible concerns of the arts and humanities' creative ways and say. We rest on the integrity of our deeds in their wake. The work of informing and educating, the sole work of our humanity sustained, to work the wake of consciousness and the respect of soul from the sleep of the many made few. Let us not fight from the position of the oppressed and silenced, but rise human and stand below no label or condescending view, no inferior labels cast by controlling sounds of authority, by rhetoric aimed to divide an issue at the inspiration of its public awareness. If so, transcend this divisive rhetoric and re-engage the issue at heart. Let us not fall into warring over a false and delusional left-right divide of public opinion. Let humanity undivided be and remain. Let us not be reduced to a false right or left limited sense of understanding the constitutional issues, rights, laws, and the declarations we live to stand on, grow by, form, question, and become. This divide of human equality is a rhetorical weapon made to divide choice itself, to hand over our rights and liberties and public authority to the controlling winds of hate and fear, by no more than propaganda of fear, control, and greed, or racism, intolerance, and arrogance. Each of us standing for all humankind is not the opposite of this. It is a contextual ploy used to engage a faux debate and derail change rising from public demand. The destructive, perpetual war of words is the language of tooth and claw. It is inhuman. A verbal tactic that rarely keeps the point of an issue at the fore of any moving social direction, any movement towards social awareness rising. And so let us stand for a love that cannot be denounced. Stand for the context of your creative say and life itself. Let us not dance violently with the weapon of words that undermine human love, undermine a growing respect for all that is literally worth our love. Beware your own harmful passivity that lacks human compassion for all. Let not your responsible and ethical concerns become measured against the rhetoric of fear, against the aims of controlling interests, against mirrors of hate or powerful forms of ignorance breeding unaccountable entities of blame and or greed. Our humanity is not a given. It is a gift earned moment by moment as we step through time. And within each moment's end, it is not a matter of fault and blame as we live to earn our measures of character. In humanity is a primal understanding we must ever raise within ourselves, each other and our children to grow from in the wake of all lessons learned always. Let us see, be, and act upon the silencing of dissenting views and stand unshaken by the belittling of our creativity's aesthetic resolve. Let us echo the work that introduces our rights in times of technological inventions and gains that leave us without any at all. Let us hear, see, be, inspire, and act to become art and educate what may become laws and words we live by. Let us not settle for the demise of our rights and liberties for the enslavement of our consuming convenience. Let us prevent harm of any natural and free sentient being, forgetting not the world herself. We are here free to think, to question thought, controls, and question what is reported and sold to you as good for you, questioning good and all of its offsprings of inhumanity breeding. And so we question news that sells no more than mind-numbing entertainment and these consuming motives to move fear. We question disinformation. We question the editorial content that edits what would be information for a society. And so we question what is fine, what is honest, what is beauty, but often we do not question our own complacent choices to live in ignorance. Let us stand unrelenting to do the work of giving equal human worth to the self-image of all children. Let us work together to raise their intimate maturation into adulthood unharmed. Let us give constant dignity to all of us aging into the natural gift of our soul's physical embodiment coming to a grateful end, disrespecting no one's basic human rights individually and or globally. Let us ever parent the parenting of life. And I lost my place. That one means a lot to me. Let us give constant support and respect to the organic and creative role of art shaping culture. Let us be, sing, play, create, and laugh with ourselves as artists live to always present, reflect, and give our minds room to see and ask hard questions, and then let us not settle for less than the universal, deeper questions about our accountable leavings. And so we do come to die, so true, upon the fault lines of our human culture, honestly creating itself without destroying ourselves, each other's dignity, or the natural self-sustaining world and home. We are not in competition of air under this same sky. Our creative roles are not superior or inferior, but to complement, to being.